All right. Hey, Karen, thanks for taking some time to chat about your journey and where you're at today and kind of take us through where you started. All right. So tell me what life was like before you started your journey.
Honestly, life was miserable. I had herniated a disc about 7 years ago, and life had not been the same since. I couldn't move, couldn't bend. I was constantly in pain. I couldn't do the activities that I was used to doing, and all the physio and chiropractors in the world really didn't make much of a difference.
Right. Okay. So when did you start to notice the biggest change?
Only recently, upon reflection, um, that because I always see what I can't do, right? And so I've been trying to reflect on what I can do,
Hmm.
and that's when I started noticing the biggest differences is
Awesome.
just with the reflecting.
Yeah. So give me an example. Like, what was something that you've recently reflected on that you found your biggest change?
Well, they may seem minimal, but if you think about it, they're quite huge. Things like putting my socks and my shoes on, being able to bend over and brush my teeth,
Yeah.
picking stuff up off the floor. Those are all things that I struggled with prior and often caused a lot of pain in doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Isn't it amazing where I know obviously in our conversations you had recently, the recent one was where you were able to bend over and brush your teeth instead of leaning to the side and kind of brushing, right? So like
Yeah,
you don't really think about it until there's the change, right?
yes.
Cool. I think also um, you were saying even just getting up off the couch or out of bed, just put that pushing motion, right?
Yes, because I had shoulder surgery and I had muscle taken from my back, as you know. So
Yeah.
any pushing movement with my right hand just wasn't there. And now I find that I can actually apply weight and push myself up, and
Yeah.
it's come a long way.
So obviously I'm aware of kind of your past history, but for anybody that's viewing this, take us through like a quick, your herniated disc, your shoulder surgeries, and all your most recent surgeries kind of to date.
Well, about 7 years ago, I herniated my disc, and
Mhm.
I've had multiple relapses since. Wasn't a candidate for surgery for that. I had cancer, and I had it on the top of my shoulder, and I had it removed, and it left a humongous hole. So I had plastic surgery, and in order to do that, they had to take a huge amount of muscle out of my back to put it on here to fill the hole. Plus, in between all that, I ended up having a hysterectomy. So I've had a lot of setbacks in
Yeah.
the last 2 years.
Right. So during these recent setbacks, especially in the last 2 years, um, what has been kind of the thing that has got you back up on your feet?
Honestly, the motivation from the gym.
Yeah.
Um, Without that constant commitment to that, I wouldn't be where I am today for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I couldn't do it on my own. The personal training has just it's totally changed my life.
That's awesome. Yeah. What is something now that you can do that you weren't able to do before you started?
You know what I noticed in the car the other day? Shoulder checks.
Really?
I can actually twist my body and look without causing a lot of pain. Yes.
That's awesome.
So it's all small things like that. Putting
Yeah,
garbage in my garbage can because I have to bend over to open up the lid. Well, I can actually bend over to open up the lid.
that's awesome. What would you say is your biggest achievement or surprise since you and I have started?
My energy level,
Yeah.
totally. Prior to all this, I was coming home after work and honestly sleeping for 1 to 2 hours every night.
Hmm.
And then I'd get up and I'd have my evening of whatever, but I was just out for 2 hours a day.
Yeah, that's huge. So during your journey, what have you learned about yourself?
That I have very little patience.
No.
Well, I'm learning to have patience, and that you get what you put in it. You get out what you put into it. So that has been my huge learning curve and all that.
Yeah, especially I think since your most recent surgery and coming back from there, like I know we were even before that we were making progress. But since this one, like I know there's been some hurdles, but just you showing up and like the effort you've been putting in, like definitely has been probably you being able to see the return of what you're putting in is the biggest thing recently, especially going from where when we first started 2 times a week, you could barely, your movement was definitely not where it was before after hurting your back. And now you're 3 times a week.
Yes, that's
It's
amazing,
awesome.
really.
Yeah. So how would those close to you describe the difference that they've seen in you?
The biggest thing is my attitude.
Yeah.
And I think it is just because of what I'm able to accomplish in the gym now, it's spilled over into my everyday life. And they're also commenting on how my body is physically changing as well. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's definitely not a downside.
No.
So obviously during this transition of working out in the gym and then now coming home, did you have any fears or apprehensions before you started the at-home personal training workouts?
Oh, I had tons. I was not keen on doing the whole video thing, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But I was worried for two things. One, that I wouldn't get the intensity that I was getting at the gym, that somehow it would be watered down, which it totally isn't. If anything, I think sometimes it's harder. And two, I was worried that I wouldn't get the individual corrections that I was getting at the gym, like, you know, make sure your heel is out or in, or your back and your pelvic isn't, is not twisted or turned, or
Yeah,
you don't miss a thing. So it's been good.
that's good. Good for both of us. um, so I think for me, like, what are you like? Obviously, we're coming to the point where we're hoping to get back into the gym. What is one thing that you are looking forward to coming back into the gym?
The people, the people there are very encouraging. The coaches as well as the um, clients as well. Um, I miss some of the equipment that we've worked on.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's the community that's there at the gym. I kind of miss that.
definitely. So talking about goals, I'll come back to this after, but first, tell me about a goal that you've had from starting working at the gym and now something that you've looked back and you didn't really necessarily see that you achieved it, but looking back and now seeing how much of your goals you have achieved. Tell me about that.
Well, as we said earlier, I started with 1 day a week, and half the time I wasn't even able to keep that. And now, for the last, I don't know,
Or
4 weeks, I've
yeah,
been consistently doing 3 times a week.
yeah.
So that's been a huge goal. And the next one following that, of course, is to try to join classes.
Yeah. So let's talk about if someone was debating whether or not they wanted to come to Forge and train, what would you tell them?
Go for it. I wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because I've been taken for where I'm at. Like, I can't do everything that everyone does. And I may not be able to do everything that everyone does. And you've been able to adjust the program and make me feel like I'm accomplishing stuff and challenging me all the time, and not settling on top of it, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think you know my body better than I do some days. And the trust is completely there,
Yeah.
and you've earned that, and I wouldn't hesitate in recommending anyone else to come.
something in my eye, Karen.
Sorry.
Yeah, I definitely like, obviously us working together has been beyond amazing. And not only for you where you're at, it definitely, I think we've had this conversation a couple times, is it doesn't matter where you're at. We always find something that you're able to do. So everything I feel that we do in the gym, no matter what level you're at, you're able to feel that challenge and see your progress too. Like especially Turkish get-ups. Like that's one of the biggest things I've seen recently, like huge progress for you.
Yes.
It was awesome. I got two more questions for you.
Okay.
So what is your favorite workout or movement that we've done?
What's a tricky one? I don't know. I still have to say the couch push-ups. It is a love-hate relationship with them. Because of my shoulder, I find them extremely difficult. But I want to be able to do a real push-up, and that is my goal. And I know that it's progress, and I realize that it's much harder at home because the couch is a lot lower than the boxes at the gym. So it's that, because I see the progress and I see that I've been able to do more each time, but someone keeps increasing the reps, so it makes it harder. Yeah.
I don't know why,
Yeah.
but you're doing them.
Yes.
So that's obviously showing the progress right there and how hard you work, which is amazing. And speaking about goals, like I said, I'd come back to this. Tell me about a goal that you're currently working towards.
My two major ones: join a class, which scares me to death, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
And lose weight. That has been a big challenge of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are great goals. And I know that we're going to take it away, and we are going to work on both of those. Obviously, I'm going to tell you like how much we appreciate you being part of the gym and how much I appreciate working with you. It's one thing, not only are we working together in the gym, outside of the gym, it's seeing you through your journey and being able to pinpoint your progress and being able to pull you into that and see it. It's like, it's so rewarding to see you show up, put in the hard work, and see you get those results, and being able to see you improve almost every time that I see you. Even your movement, the way, you know, your strength, your attitude, everything is just amazing.
Thank you.
No problem.